There's nothing better than a BLT, except maybe a BLT made with your very own home-cured bacon. It's really not as hard as you think it is. We just took delivery of our Green Mountain Grill Trek smoker, and to break it in, I smoked and cured our own homemade bacon, and it makes for one heck of a BLT. It's really not that difficult. I'm going to show you how to do it. Let's get started. Let's make our dry curing rub to go on our pork belly. We're going to start out with equal parts of sugar and salt. And here I like to use brown sugar as opposed to white sugar just because it has more flavor, but you can use either one, white or brown sugar. Next, we're going to have equal parts of garlic powder, onion powder, pink curing salt, which is not to be confused with pink Himalayan sea salt. This is actually a curing powder. It's called Prague powder, or it might even be curing salt #1, but you can buy this at any spice or meat shop, and it looks like that. Ground black pepper. And for a little herbal component, I like to have a little bit of dried thyme in there. We're just going to give this a good mix so it's thoroughly combined, and then we're going to get it on our pork belly. I've got my whole pork belly. You can see I've cut it in half and trimmed the floppy edges here. We want it kind of the same thickness all the way around. I also like to cut it to fit into my half sheet pan here, or actually quarter sheet pan, so it fits nicely in here, and this will help catch the juices when it starts to render out the liquid from the curing process. You can see I've also scored the top fat, just a very thin, light score, just so that cure works itself in there. Now this is going to sit in the refrigerator for about 7 days, which is about the time it's going to take for the new smoker to get here. We're going to take our rub and put a nice thin layer all the way across the top of the pork belly. I'm going to get the sides also. And then you want to rub down your pork belly so it's evenly distributed across the entire surface of the meat and gets itself down into the scores that we just put in the top of the fat there. Okay, then we're going to turn it over. And we're going to do the same thing to this side. I've got these nifty 2.5 gallon Ziploc bags. Each pork belly is going to go in its own bag, and then we're going to get all the air out of there that we can. This is going to help trap and keep that curing liquid in. And get as much air out of there as we can. One. All right, now we have our sheet pan, which again is going to hold any excess juices that come out of here. And the pan will also help our pork belly keep its shape too. And you're going to put one right on top of the other one. And then this is going to go in your refrigerator. Every day I'm going to come in and I'm going to turn our pork bellies over. And I'm also, while it's in the fridge for a week, going to keep something down on here to keep the weight on the pork bellies and kind of help squeeze the moisture out of there as the bacon cures. And then in 7 days, you'll see what it looks like. It's going to come out. It's going to be a little firmer, and because of the curing salt, it's going to be a little more pink than it is now. Let's have a look at our bacon really quick here. You can see some liquid rendering out of the pork belly. Let's move that one. There we go. You can see all the liquid coming out. That's exactly what you want to see. And the bottom one's looking the same way. And then we're about 3 days into our 7-day cure here. The bellies are starting to firm up, and you can see the color on the bacon is starting to turn a deeper pink. And then what I do is every morning come in and flip the bellies around, put these back in the refrigerator. We're about halfway through the process, and so we'll be smoking these in about another 3 days. Okay, our bacon's been curing for 7 days. It's in the refrigerator. Let's grab it out and see what it looks like. It is firmed up, and there is a lot of moisture that has been pulled out of the bacon. All right, let's see what we have here. And you can see all the moisture that's rendered out of the bacon. That's exactly what we want to see. And again, the texture is very firm, and you can see the color has changed on the meat of the bacon. Now you want to rinse all of that purged liquid and all of the cure and extra salt and pepper that's on there really, really well, and then pat these dry and get them back into your refrigerator and let them sit in open air overnight. What that's going to do for you is tighten up the bacon, have a little more moisture evaporation out of it, and get that skin ready to accept a lot of the smoke that we're about to put on it. Okay, I've got my smoker set up out here at the back of our campsite away from our rig. First thing we want to do is get our smoker preheated because we want to be up to temp when we throw our bacon in the smoker. I'm smoking with applewood pellets today, 100% real hardwood apple pellets. I love applewood smoked bacon. And we are actually powering the Green Mountain Grill. The Trek version, the small portable one, is the one that we got. I'm actually powering it with the Southwire portable power pack. It will actually run the smoker for like 26 to 32 hours. So first thing we need to do is power ourselves up. And we're gonna go through the warm-up process for our grill. All right, our smoker's at its preliminary temperature of 150 degrees. So now we want to get it up to our smoking temperature, which today is going to be 250 degrees. Okay, our smoker's up to temp, and it's time to start making some bacon. I'm going to get that right on the smoker and kind of center it up. Next, I want to get my secondary rack in here. Now you could put these side by side, but I choose to put them top and bottom, and I'm gonna rotate them about every 30 minutes or so. I anticipate our smoke's gonna take somewhere between 2 and 2.5 hours. So I'm gonna rotate them, but I like the top and bottom method so I don't restrict this flow of smoke around the sides of the grill. And then I also want even smoke and even cooking distribution. All right, we'll get our second belly in there. All right, we're gonna get the lid shut. So we're gonna let these go for about an hour, and I'm gonna be flipping these every 30 minutes. And then after that first hour, I'll probably get a meat probe in there because we don't cook by time, we cook by temperature, and we wanna get these to 165 degrees. Okay, we're about an hour into our smoke, and we wanna take a look at our pork bellies and see how they're doing. Now, as a reminder, I did flip them at the first 30-minute mark. And as we open up our grill and have a look, oh, we got some really nice color on these working already. Now, what's interesting, and keep in mind, this is our first smoke on this grill, but you can see we have some definite hot spots. So this side of the grill here and this back corner over here are running a little bit hotter. So this is why we want to make sure and rotate our pork belly pieces every 30 minutes or so we can make sure that we want to get that even cooking. So let's get this one off of here. Take our one from the top and we're going to flip it around. We'll put our rack back in. And then we'll get this pork belly back in and flipped around as well. And you can see, hopefully you can see here that this side's darker than this side. So by rotating and flipping, we're going to maintain that nice even cook. One of the things we want to do is get a meat probe into one of the pork bellies, the thickest part of one of the pork bellies, so we can now start to watch that temperature. We want to take these pork bellies to 165 degrees, and I mentioned before that I think this smoke's going to take somewhere between 2 and 2.5 hours. I have this LaCrosse Technologies temperature probe. The great thing about this probe is it has 2 sensors with it. It has an A sensor and a B sensor. So what I want to do is I want to put one of these in the pork belly, and then I'm going to put one of them in the grill to make sure that we're maintaining our 250 degrees, 260 degrees. So special thanks and a shout out to LaCrosse Technologies. They did send us this thermometer to check out based on our review and video of the LaCrosse weather station that we've been using for the last year. This monitor does hook up to the LaCrosse weather station. It also hooks up to your phone, so you can monitor what's going on with your smoke both on your weather station, on your desk, and on your phone mobily. So this is a great unit to have. We're going to put the A probe into the thickest part of our pork belly, and that's this lower pork belly on this one end. I'm going to grab it with my tongs here. and slide this right into our fat end of our pork belly. The B probe, I'm just going to go ahead and stick right in here to make sure that we're maintaining our grill temperature. Now keep in mind, in another 30 minutes, I'm going to come back and flip and rotate these bellies, and then we'll check and see where we're at in the next hour. All right, we are right at the 2-hour mark, and I came out to have a look and see how our bacon is doing. And we are right at 162 degrees. So I'm thinking we can go ahead and pull this off and let it rest. It'll come up a few between 5 and 10 degrees more as it rests, and that will give those juices and fat kind of time to reincorporate into our bacon. So we're going to go ahead and get this off of the grill. Oh, look at that. Those look amazing. Let's get our probes out of the way here. We're going to get these onto a sheet pan. We're going to start our cool down mode on our smoker. So just look at that beautiful mahogany color on that bacon. Oh man, that looks outstanding. Now, before I slice them for sliced bacon, I want these to really gel up and firm up. Once they cool down sufficiently, I wrap them up, put them in the refrigerator, and let them sit for a day or two. Tonight, we're having BLTs for dinner. So we're gonna cook this on the black stone griddle. One of the things I like to do is start with a cold griddle. As I mentioned before, this bacon has very little moisture in it, so it renders quite quickly, and it doesn't have a lot of moisture that comes out of it, so it tends to cook faster than store-bought bacon. So I start with a cold grill. We'll turn it on. I'm going to start it at about medium. And I'm going to put my bacon slices right in the warmest part of the grill. One of the things I like about the deli slicer is we get nice, even slices of bacon. Now, if you don't have a deli slicer in your RV or in your house, you can certainly have a nice, sharp slicing knife and slice your own bacon. While our bacon's cooking, we're going to prepare the rest of our sandwich fixings for our BLTs. I have this beautiful tomato here. We're just going to cut some really nice slices. And here's a tip, whether you're doing burgers or BLTs or any other sandwich that has tomatoes on it, do yourself a favor and season your tomatoes. I like to put just a little bit of olive oil on them, and then fresh ground pepper, and finally some kosher salt. And this will just take your sandwich to the next level. You can see our bacon starting to render its fat. I am going to go ahead and give these guys a flip over. Now, there are some people out there that will tell you to only flip bacon once, and I will say kind of leave that for your hamburgers. I'm a fan of flipping bacon as much as you need to kind of get a nice even cook to whatever level of doneness you love your bacon at. And the one thing you do have to watch out for is this curling, which is the way the belly kind of runs. It's going to naturally curl in one direction, and that's why I like to flip multiple times. Our bacon's done, and I like nice crispy bacon to put on a BLT. I love that crunch of crispy bacon with the lettuce and tomato. So we've got nice, well done bacon here. You, of course, can cook your bacon to your desired level of doneness. Look at that. That makes the time and effort that you take to make your own bacon totally worth it. Well, thanks so much for watching. Be sure and like this video. It helps us out. Be sure and subscribe so you can check out all the new videos we have coming up, especially since it's grilling season. We got a lot of good stuff coming up in the future. The recipe for the bacon and the rub and the entire curing process will be down in the description below. And until next time, happy eating.